What you're about to listen to is a Bry-Fy production.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Bry-Fy podcast. Wait.
Hey everybody, welcome back to... I just forgot to.
And I'm Bry-Fy, your comics guy. Thanks, RJ.
You're welcome.
You're the best.
Bye.
You're gonna say bye?
Bye everyone. See ya. Have a good summer.
Have a good summer. All right, make sure you close the door on your way out, buddy.
Okay, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Oh man, he's the best. But yeah, so welcome back to the Bry-Fy podcast. And we're recording from a new studio office, man. I've made some changes, got rid of the guest bed and the old gaming desk for something a little more streamlined, something a little more office-y. And I still needed to be able to sleep in here. So we went to IKEA, found some sleeper sofas, and found like a really cool small one. So it doesn't take up a lot of space, but yet it's still big enough for me to sleep on. And it's got one of those cool little, you can lift up the thing and I could put pillows and blankets underneath and then swap them out, put the sofa cushions down or like the sofa pillows underneath. So I don't know, it works pretty well for me. And as a review, it's a fairly stiff sleeper. So like it's a very firm mattress top, but I like firm bedding because I have a bad back. So if I sleep on anything too soft, it kills me. Welcome to the joys of getting old, people. So yeah, for me, it works perfectly. It's a great size, looks great in the office, frees up a lot of space, which is another thing I'm a big fan of. And so I'm excited. I'm excited to have this new start in the office. So I might be sending some pictures soon. I'm still trying to work out the camera streaming aspect of it, because the one good thing about my old desk is it had like multiple shelves, and so I could really like utilize all that shelf space. But like I said, I wanted a cleaner look. And so with the cleaner look comes a little bit more difficulty in finding creative ways, or well, easy ways to put up my streaming rig. But we're getting there, man. We're learning, and I have some ideas, so we'll see. So look forward to some streams coming in the near future. Other things that are coming in the new future, COMICPALOOZA down at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston, Texas. Lovely Houston, Texas. That's going to be June 20th through the 22nd this year, guys. You need to get your badges ASAP. Now, you've already missed the lower price badges due to the price increase. So I always tell people, man, as soon as passes come out, you need to buy them, because COMICPALOOZA is always going to deliver on celebrity guests. And if, like, for me, celebrities are not always my big pull for COMICPALOOZA. Yeah, they're a great thing, but I don't like to sit and wait to meet celebrities and things like that, because I am very much a fan of Artist Alley and vendors. And there's so much there that I can't afford to wait any bit. You know, I got to get out there and I got to get mingling in the crowd to try to maximize my spending time, right? But with talking about the passes this past weekend, which I'm recording now, we missed the early badge pickup. Sorry, I had to space there because I couldn't think of how I wanted to say that. So one of the first early badge pickups happened this past weekend. I'm sure they'll do some more. And with the early badge pickup came the reveal of the new badge artwork, which has me really excited. I don't know what type of passes come with each badge yet, so I'm not 100% sure. Like if you got like the VIPs, or if you got the just general mission, or if you're a vendor or a podcaster or media, like each of those you get different type of badges and different badge artwork. So I don't know which one you're going to be getting with your pass, but I can kind of give you a rundown of what to look for, or like what badges are in play, man. And I also want to share some of the artists who did it. So for COMICPALOOZA, artists, vendors, whoever wants to draw, send in like competition drawings for the badges, and then COMICPALOOZA selects the winners and chooses those for badge artwork, which is really cool. So up first we have Juan Castro, who is going to be at booth 3024. He has 3 artworks that made it into the badge. One's like a Clint Eastwood Woody from Toy Story. He has a Stormtrooper, which looks really cool, and a Bo Peep Kill Bill looking thing. Really awesome. Chris DeRay Art has 1 badge at 3212 is his booth number. It's Superman and Crypto, really cute. Jay Gillespie, Dimension Comics, not actually boothing at COMICPALOOZA right now, but has a great Wonder Woman artwork that we'll be showcasing here. JD Prince, booth number 2500, has a awesome Spider-Punk badge that made it into it. Bird Bones, booth number 2400, has, it looks like Magic the Gathering, an elf. I think that's the sun logo on the chest from Magic the Gathering. I could be mistaken. Looks pretty cool, though. I like the artwork on there. Cryptid Colors, booth 3033, has just a pretty cool, almost looks like a tarot card badge looking thing, or it's like a hand holding tarot cards, but it has like the gamer, the reader, the nerd. Kind of neat, a really cool style one. The OSC Studios, booth number 2601, it has 2 badges. One is a pretty sweet looking Batman, and the other one is, what's his name from, is it Gojo? I think his name's Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Pretty cool looking badge artwork there. You have EWA Cats, EWA Cats, booth 2424. Looks like someone who specializes in cat artwork, and they're doing a Cat The Last Airbender, so like a kitty cat Aang. Looks pretty neat. Mark Nasso, who I've gotten to meet once or twice at booth 2214. Looks like he has one from Beetlejuice of the sandworm. Looks pretty cool, pretty interesting. Happy Taco Studio has a badge, booth number 2624. Looks, what is her name? Not Glinda. From Wicked, the Wicked Witch. Well, she's not really evil. She gets turned. I forget her name. You know, the one who sings the cool song and everything. Fine Art by Ash has 2 badges, booth number 3124. One is a Spider-Woman, looks really cool, and the other one is a Calvarine. Really cool with that one. The Pop Art guy has 1 badge, booth 2416, and it's going to be a Dragon Ball Z badge, so everyone's probably going to be a real big fan of that. And Bowie Art, booth 2524, hits us with the Darth Vader in his like cool throne badge. Oh, there's still some more. Flicker Effect Design. Yeah, Flicker Effect Designs, booth 2613 with a Cheech and Chong tripped out badge. Really excited for that one. And then lastly, Ramos Renditions LLC, booths 2700 and 2716 with Your Resident Alien badge, which is really cool. There's some really good badge artwork here, man. It's hard to pick favorites. I do like the Calvarine. The art style on that one looks really cool. I feel like that's going to be a real popular badge. Henry Cavill won. The Cheech and Chong, mainly because they're going to be here. I mean, Hayden Christensen's going to be here too. That Darth Vader badge is awesome. But I really like the art style of the Cheech and Chong badge. Those are really cool. And, man, there's got the Spider-Punk, dude. And the Stormtrooper. So I really like the Stormtrooper, just the way it looks. It's got a very, like, pop, pulp art type feel to it, and the Spider-Punk badge, just because I'm a fan of Spider-Punk. But yeah, man, so if you want a chance at these badges, and like I've done this before in the past, like on the last day when people are going to leave, some people are willing to trade or willing to give up badges because some people don't hold on to them like me. Someone don't find the nostalgia in them like I do. I've been collecting COMICPALOOZA badges for a while, and I want to display them in like a shadow box, which I finally have enough where I'm like, okay, I can definitely fill up a shadow box now. So I'm probably going to be doing that. But yeah, get your badges, guys. COMICPALOOZA is coming at us June 20th through the 22nd. That's coming up, man. I think we're less than 28 days away. I can't remember how many days we are exactly. If today's the 25th, you have 1, 2, let's see, that's 7, 14, 7, 14, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. We got 25 or 26 days, okay? I'm not great at math, but we're almost there. Anyway, that's all that I got for that. Let's move on to the Nifty Nerd News. All right, guys, up first in the Nifty Nerd News, Michael Douglas has explained why he's not going to be returning, or it's very unlikely that he'll be returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Spoiler alert, it's because he's 80 years old and he just doesn't think he's like going to live up to it, man. Not like he's not going to live to the next one, but like, I mean, he's old, man. He's enjoying like retirement in a way. I mean, I don't think he's really retired, but retired from acting and kind of taking a break from it and not doing it. A break is the wrong. When you're 80, you're not taking a break from anything. You're retiring, right? Like that's the whole idea. But that's the secret, right? He's not like, oh, they don't want me back or anything. He's like, man, I'm 80. Like I'm tired. My back hurts. I wanted to do a cool green screen production and I did. And I got to make quite a bit of money doing that. So like, good for him, right? Up next in the Nifty Nerd News. Yeah, end of story. That was it. Up next in the Nifty Nerd News, man. So first off, I learned two things with this next article. Well, I learned one extra thing, one bonus thing with this article. So of course, you guys all know I collect Pokemon cards, baseball cards, Magic, like trading cards. I collect those, right? And typically when I can't go to a store to find the cards that I want, or I'm just having difficulty in my local card shops or game stores finding the cards, I go to tcgplayer.com. tcgplayer.com is a really great card resource. In fact, most card stores, game stores use TCG Player to value their cards. In fact, when I'm selling my cards, I we'll just use dumb words. I always use TCG Player because that is pretty much the way of the market, tcgplayer.com. What I learned in this article, eBay owns TCG Player. Like, I had no idea they own that company. I guess they bought them out a few years back. TCG Player was founded in 2008, and then I'm guessing they were bought, in 2022. Hampson, who founded the company in Syracuse, sold the company to eBay in 2022 for $295 million. Quite a bit of money, man. Not like I can go buy a country amount of money, but a very, very respectable sum. Like what I would do for just $2 million. Anyway, the reason why I bring up TCG Player is because eBay is now planning to shut down the Syracuse operations. They have a warehouse in Syracuse where they basically keep a bunch of the TCG Player cards, because there's like different, you can buy from different local shops around the country, or TCG Player has like their warehouse where you can purchase cards from. The benefit of that being like you always have tracking on your shipping. Shipping's usually a little bit more, and the cards sometimes can be a little bit more expensive, but it's direct from TCG Player, so you know the validity of their grading, or like they say, hey, the card's in this condition, you have a better chance of getting that exact thing. Whereas, with a local shop, they may say something is near mint and it might have a ding or a scratch on it that might put it in the lightly played or moderately played category. Sorry, I can't speak, which is great for doing podcast, right? So, but with this, it plans to lay off 220 local employees to do this, which is really sad and kind of really sucks. Now, this doesn't mean that TCG Player is closing. In fact, it looks like they just might be moving warehouses. It might at least consolidating some of the things and maybe moving it to a more centralized location to better distribute cards. That's what it looks like eBay's trying to do here, but it does suck because, I mean, this company started in 2008, man. They had over 200 employees working at this location in Syracuse, and now it's going away. That really sucks, man. And so feel bad for the families. Like I said, as a card collector, though, thankfully, TCG Player, this doesn't mean that they're being shut down. We don't know exactly what it's going to mean for prices and things going forward, but I would think because TCG Player has so many different card shops and everyone else involved in the website, they can't just push around the market price, right? Like TCG Player can't just all of a sudden start going up in price, because then everyone's going to go to the smaller shops and buy from their lower price stuff, though, you know. But the one thing about Pokemon cards that I've realized, and local card shops that I realized, is that they can and have manipulated the market. We've seen that with, what was it, a Slowpoke illustration rare card that no one really wanted, and then for whatever reason shops and people were pushing it as like the next best thing and artificially inflated the price of this card like 500 or more %. And then now it's climbed back down to like a reasonable price, but like we've seen it, right? But it is up to, of course, in these kind of situations, it's up to us as the consumer to be like, no, I'm not going to pay that price. And you see that a lot. If like the one cool thing about TCG Player is that you can see trends in the market and it tracks those trends. So you can see like when a card is like elevating in price, and then you can see how cards start off at a high price and then lower because people are not willing to pay the higher price. So that's the one good thing. So you can see when these price increases and drops are happening, you can kind of guesstimate if it's real or inflated, because like if it's the only card in the set that this is happening to and no other cards are like rising in price, then you know like, hey, something might be fishy, or it's just that badass of a card. I mean, we've seen cards like the Bubble Mew with Paldean Fates, the shiny set. That one skyrocketed. I think I bought it for $60 near the start of that set coming out, and now it's like worth $200 to $300. I don't know exactly, but it's crazy, man. And like the Charizard from the Pokemon 151 set, that's gone up to $200 to $300, and I think I got that card at $100 when it first came out. So it's nuts, man. The Pokemon card market is nuts. Speaking of the Pokemon card market, so Pokemon has come out to say that they have printed only 10.2 billion cards in 2024. Only. That's actually less than they printed in 2023. But 10.2 billion cards is still a butt ton of cards, man. Or okay, so I'm sorry, 10.2 billion less. That's the word I was looking for. Less than previous year. Overall, they have printed 64.8 billion cards worldwide in 2024. So far in 2025, over 75 billion cards have been produced worldwide currently. And I can't find any. Like that's the mad thing, is they're printing more cards this year than they did last year, and I can't find any. It's just nuts, dude. They've listed, the Pokemon Company has listed like they're printing over the last, looks like 10 years or more. So this year 75 billion, last year 64.8 billion. 2023 52.9 billion, 2022 43.2 billion, 2021 34.1 billion. I think 2020 or 2021 is when I got into Pokemon with the 151 set. I can't remember what year. They only printed 34.1 billion cards that year, and I was able to get so much product. I was able to buy so many sets of Pokemon, and now with 75 billion cards being printed worldwide this year, I can't find a damn thing. And that's because of scalpers. A lot of people are suggesting that the sneakerheads have moved into Pokemon. I guess they've claimed that they've destroyed the sneaker market, so they needed a new one to flock to. And they chose Pokemon cards because they could see like the benefit of selling Pokemon cards to rich nerds or nerds with money and how they could take advantage of them. And it seems to be working, man. They're buying up all this freaking product and flipping it for like 3 times its market value. And unfortunately, people are buying it. People aren't standing up and trying to shoot them down. They're allowing these guys to win, which really sucks. And now it's time to get off my pedestal. Moving on to the next bit of nifty nerd news. Looks like Marvel Studios has delayed Avengers Doomsday from May 5th of next year to December 18th of next year, which has upset a lot of people. But at the same time, for me, I think that's a good thing, man. Marvel has been moving to focus on quality over quantity now. And we've seen that with the Thunderbolts, a very great movie, in my opinion, something that you should check out if you haven't. But I think they've seen how well that has been doing. And like, while yes, Thunderbolts wasn't like blowing up the box office, it has stayed very steady. It's gotten great reviews. It's being well received. And I think now Marvel's realizing that's what we need to do. We need to make a better product, just not a lot of decent product. And I guess for some arguments, for better or worse, they haven't been making a lot of decent product here recently either. But I like the new focus, and so I welcome the shift. And it's 6 months time, half a year getting pushed back. That's fine to me, man. They're doing some reshoots on Fantastic Four here recently. I'm fine with that because I feel like it's a quality thing, not like we're stuck in the mud type thing. Like, I'm not worried about the new Fantastic Four movie. I mean, I guess I'll always have a little bit of worry to it because they have a lot to live up to, and that the past 2 or 3 iterations have not been excellent. And so everyone's kind of putting their hopes into this, like this is the new MCU. This is the new Fantastic Four. Like, it needs to be the thing. It needs to herald in the new Marvel, so to speak. And so people are really excited for it. But yeah, so Avengers Doomsday moving back. I haven't heard anything on Secret Wars yet. So I would think with Doomsday being pushed back, Secret Wars would be pushed back as well. But we haven't heard anything to confirm that yet. And the last bit of nifty nerd news, we're going to Marvel Rivals, the video game, one that I'm really fond of. I finally got lured with Luna Snow, so I'm really excited with that one. But now I'm moving on to the next character, and I think I was starting to work with, who was it? Iron Fist. Somehow he was the next. I kept trying to find characters to work with, and I wanted to do something other than a strategist. I wanted someone who could, do some damage, right? And Iron Fist seemed to just be the one that I picked up pretty well and did all right with. So he's the one I was working with. However, we're getting a new character in Marvel Rivals May 30th, and it's Ultron. Yes, Ultron, the humanity's bane, the guy who wants to wipe out all organic life, basically. Ultron is coming to Marvel Rivals, and he's going to be a strategist, so a healer, so to speak. But it seems like he's a healer with some pretty impressive firepower, much like Luna Snow. Like, I like Luna Snow because she could hit pretty hard, does some decent amount of damage, and does some decent heals. But what's great about Ultron, and one of the things that's always frustrated me with the other team, is he's also a flyer. So he's a guy who can fly. He can put some decent damage down. It looks like he's capable of okay heals. It doesn't look like it's anything too impressive, but to have the firepower and flight ability that Ultron has, and then also be able to heal some people partially, seems like a pretty good deal, man. His ult doesn't look too impressive. I mean, of course, much higher firepower. But what's kind of cool is that like he spawns like 4 or 5 more little Ultrons, and they all are shooting at once. So I guess it's just like increasing his firepower 4 to 5 times. And I mean, he's wiping some pretty big characters on the little demo reel that I've seen with some of his gameplay. So I'm kind of excited. I'm not very good with flyers. I tried Iron Man. didn't do too well. Doctor Strange kind of sucked at. So Ultron will probably be a lot of the same. I think adding the verticality of flight for my character when I'm already not very good is just going to make me even worse. But I like how hard he hits damage wise. I like the ability to be able to heal teammates, because sometimes when if I'm just having a bad go of it and like I can't kill anyone, or I can't defeat anybody, I'll just drop back and just start healing, and I get tons of points. I get tons of experience doing the healing stuff, and I'm helping the team out, right? Like, I think the good thing with me and what I've learned with Luna, because she's also really fast, like she's a very quick character, so she can move across the map really quickly, is that I can sit back fairly far, use my heals, keep the team up, and then when it looks like we're ready to push, like we've knocked out a couple of people and we're ready to push forward, I can quickly get up to the front lines. I can either continue healing or I can lay some finishing blows on some people. She has like a stronger attack that gives her better heals, and it appears to be better attack. And so like it's a character that I've really enjoyed and really liked using Luna. So maybe Ultron's the next best thing, you know. And last I think I talked about Marvel Rivals, I kind of wished for more pure villains, you know. Like I said, there was a lot of more anti-hero type characters playing the villain role, but now adding Ultron into this, that is a villain character. So I'm excited to see what he is capable of. Anywho, that's all that I got for the Nifty Nerd News this week, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around for, wow, we've been recording for like 25 minutes now, so thank you. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Up next, though, we got the last bit of Nifty Nerd News to talk about, and we're going to talk about a comic book that I've been reading here recently. It's not new, but it's new to me. All right, guys, thanks for sticking around for the last part of the Bry-Fy podcast. This week, I read a comic book. Over the last 2 weeks, I've been reading a comic book, among other things. But the comic book that I decided to pick up was at my local library, and it was Loki, Agent of Asgard, the complete collection. Now, I remember when Loki, Agent of Asgard was first coming out back in, I think in 2024. It was around when I first started reading comic books, and it was definitely a theme of villains taking over a more heroic role back then. And I don't know I guess it wasn't too big into Loki and his story back then. But now after like the TV show and things like that, I kind of wanted to go back and check it out. Also because I was just looking for something to rent or to borrow from my local library. And they do have graphic novels, which is great, you know. So picked this up and wanted to check it out. It is by Al Ewing, who is the writer, Art Lee Garbett, among a bunch of others, because this is a collected edition that has some stuff from, what did it have? Original Sin was in here, Axis, where like people get their personality swapped in a way. So there's a lot of Marvel events that happen within Loki, Agent of Asgard. So I will say some of the story, if you're not aware of the things that are happening and the events that are happening at the same time, it gets not confusing, but it definitely will be a tad jarring, if you will, because at one point Loki's after his brother Thor, who is not acting like himself, and you have to kind of have a background of Original Sin and Axis to be like, oh, that's why Thor is more evil and Loki is now acting high and mighty as a hero, is because of the Axis swap. But that being said, Loki, Agent of Asgard is a story of a young Loki now. Things have happened. Old Loki is dead, but now in a new, younger Loki body. And that's going to be a big point in this story of how he got to that body, Is it a good or bad thing that he got into that body, and how that's going to affect others in Asgard and around Earth about Loki being inside that body? What we also find out is he is working for Asgard, the All Mother, Freya, I believe is the All Mother's name, Odin's wife. I think it's Freya. I could be mistaken. But she is now the All Mother who's in charge while Odin is off being sad or some shit like that. I don't know. And Loki's goal is to bring mischievous or out of place Asgardians back to Asgard. But are they really bad people or not? That's kind of the question. And Loki starts to ask himself that. Is like, why is he doing this? What is the point of bringing these Asgardians back? And is he as much a prisoner as they are in his role as an agent of Asgard? So while on Earth, he makes a new friend. It's a woman who has some pretty interesting powers, although it doesn't look like she can control them very well. She has the ability to make it where people cannot lie around her. And as Loki is like the god of lies, the god of mischief and things, it makes it very difficult for him, but also very intriguing for him to be around her, right? Because he can't lie to her. During all of this, like I said, there's a whole bunch of Marvel events that kind of take place. So while the story does its best to navigate through these events and make a compelling story despite what's happening to it, I feel like the Marvel events very much hinder the kind of story that Loki, Agent of Asgard, could tell. At one point, we have to have what is it? Not original. Yeah, Original Sin comes in, and that's when I can't remember. Not Mysterio. It's the villain with the eyeball. Who the hell is the villain with the eyeball? I'm gonna look it up right now. We're gonna go to Google real quick. Google. We're gonna type in Marvel villain with big eyeball, and that is Orb. Orb somehow gets the severed eyeball of the Watcher being the being on the moon that sees and knows all that's going to happen. He's like omnipresent. He can't interfere with things, but he knows the story of the Marvel universe and how it's going to end, basically. Well, Orb gets a hold of this eye and then basically explodes it, and everyone who's around the eye when it explodes sees like some very secret things that have happened that the Watcher has seen that they were unaware of. One of the big things was like Spider-Man saw that a second person was bit by the radioactive spider before it died. Like the story was always it bit Peter and then died. Well, the Watcher saw that it actually ran and bit someone else. It was Cindy Moon, who is now Silk as the spider hero. Thor, what he saw was that he had a sister that was kidnapped and grew up in heaven with the angels. And heaven existed in a 10th realm that was nowhere to be seen because Odin had sealed it off from the world tree and the other 9 realms. So there was a secret 10th realm. And so now the story, Loki joins Thor to go find his sister and save his sister. As it turns out, though, his sister, being raised by angels who are like mortal enemies of the Asgardians, was raised to hate Asgardians. And so when she finds Thor, it is a knockdown, drag-out fight between her and him. Loki is doing some secret Loki shit in the background and making deals with the Queen of the Angels. And so that's how that all kind of like takes place. From there, things kind of get a little screwy with the Axis event happening, where it makes Loki become like wanting to be a superhero and basically becoming kind of a douchebag. Becoming a douchebag because of that event. And Thor now kind of losing sight of himself. He's unworthy of the hammer. And that, I think that was prior to the Axis event. But he's unworthy of the hammer. Now he's kind of a super douche, and he wants to kill Loki because he blames him for everything like that. And so it's like Thor lost his consciousness, or his conscience, and is no longer worried about if he kills or doesn't kill. He's like, I'm just, you know what, this is it. I'm ending this for now. And Loki wanting to be the hero and do good, but also kind of being an ass about it too. Because it's funny because I feel like the Axis event doesn't really change who the people are. It just changes their desires in a way. Like it like Loki, who's usually one for mischief and being kind of a jerk, is now one who wants to be heroic, but also kind of a jerk at the same time. I don't know. So that was an interesting story, and I don't want to spoil all the ins and outs for it, but it's really interesting to see Loki deal with trying to make a new name for himself, trying to be a better person because he has a new lease on life and a new experience. And it's also him fighting against basically destiny. Spoiler alert, the original Loki, or a future Loki of the present Loki, is still there. He exists. He comes back in time because of things that happened in the future for him. And he wants this timeline to go a certain way to either ensure a better or at least the same standing for him in the future. And so that's going to cause a lot of interesting back and forth between present day Loki and old future Loki and other characters. And so the thing with Asgardians is it's always dramatic, man. There's always so much crap that is going on. And then there's this poor human woman who is just trying to be Loki's best friend and kind of stuck in the middle of it all and doesn't really know how to trust Loki in certain things. Everyone's telling her not to trust Loki because of who he is and things like that. And then there's also the underlying big secret that eventually will be let out, and that's, how did this Loki get into this young body? Because the present Loki is not young guy, but he's in a young guy's body. And so how did he get here? Like, there's a kid Loki that we kind of know about, and how did kid Loki, one, grow up to be young adult Loki? And there's just so much there. There's just so much story that is like an onion being peeled back and revealed to us. And so it's really interesting. I really like the story, but like I said, I feel like, and it happens with all books, right? Most books have this awful effect with them, is that they get too caught up in the Marvel events that are happening in the world, right? And I'm trying to think of books that have done a good job with it. I think Superior Spider-Man did an okay job. What was it? I think they had the Age of Ultron, or like one of the Ultron things happened in between at one point. And I think they really just did it as a bonus issue, really, than one that hit in the storyline itself proper. But, you know, I think they made a reference to it once or twice, but they really kind of stayed out of the event, which I think is the right thing to do. Like, maybe do a bonus issue where, oh yeah, my character got to interact this way and that, and then be done with it, right? And it doesn't have major lasting effects on the story. I know Deadpool, the 2012 version of Deadpool, Axis hit him hard. Original Sin did too. Like, Original Sin let Deadpool know that he did have a daughter who was alive. And so that was a big, major story plot for Deadpool. And then Axis was another one that made Deadpool try to be more heroic, but in the same vein of Loki, still kind of an ass, right? But like trying to do better and trying to be better. But that was kind of like the whole point of Brian Posehn and Jerry Duggan's Deadpool, was to try to make him better, or like he wanted to be better. He wanted to be more of a hero than what he was. He wanted to be more than what he was, and which is what Loki's trying to do in his story. But anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked now. But Loki, Agent of Asgard, though, pretty good story, man. Especially if you're a fan of like Tom, is it Hiddleston? Yeah, right. Yeah, Tom Hiddleston's Loki, like a younger, fresher looking Loki versus like an old man type thing. It's a good look, man. I really enjoy it. I like I like his story. I like his interactions with people. Once again, the Marvel events kind of hindered the story a little bit, in my opinion. But overall, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's something worth checking out. As far as a rating goes for it, is of course I haven't done ratings in a while. If you know, we do like charges, like ion charges, right? You got a negative charge, neutral charge, or a positive charge. This Agent of Loki, Agent of Asgard definitely gets a positive charge from the Bry-Fy podcast. Check it out. I don't think it's like for everyone, right? Like, of course, that, that's kind of like my disclaimer, like it's not for everyone, but I think people will enjoy it, man. It's a pretty good story, pretty good read, nothing too hard, nothing too heavy. So definitely check it out. That being said, guys, that's all that I have for you this week from the Bry-Fy podcast. Thank you so much for checking us out. And yeah, man, don't forget COMICPALOOZA, June 20th through the 22nd. I'll be there. Actually, I just confirmed my first panel that I'll be a part of. I'm going to be teaming up with Craig Price for his cast-off panel, where we recast a movie or a series or something like that. That's going to be Saturday at 8:30 p.m. So that is June 21st. 8:30 p.m. I don't want to release what we're casting yet because, that's for him, but I will be a part of that, so I'm really excited for that. I haven't found out when my panel is going to be quite yet, so waiting to hear back from that. Really excited because, like I've mentioned before, this year we are going to be doing Mythical Mothers, Trash or Treasure, Mythical Mothers, where we look at all the fantasy, make-believe, and pop culture moms that exist on television, movies, series, and whatnot, and deciding with cool little popsicle signs, trash or treasure. It's great for crowd participation. Last year we did Fictional Fathers, had a great turnout. Hopefully you guys can come out again. As soon as I find out when and what time, I will, when, where, and what time, I'll let you know. But thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast, and we will see you guys next week. Bry-Fy out.